This has to be on purpose, right? I mean, this is Charlie Kaufman working on way too many levels once again, this whole thing. I mean, of course, a filmmaker named Kaufman releases a film during a respiratory virus pandemic. Welcome to Real School, the film channel that can teach you why The Road and Children of Men are more like predictive documentaries than fiction. I'm your host, Michael Wynne Johnson, and today I will be reviewing Charlie Kaufman's Netflix release, I'm Thinking of Ending Things. As you're watching the video, if you enjoy what you see, be sure to click like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'm Thinking of Ending Things is based on the novel of the same name written by Canadian novelist Iain Reid, and the movie stars the two Jessies, Jessie Buckley and Jessie Plemons, in a story that follows this young couple going to visit his family home so that she can meet his parents for the first time. And when she gets there, it becomes a Beckett-esque nightmare boxed by a never-ending blizzard where time and reality has no meaning. But yay, Canadian connection. This is a very claustrophobic film, just what the pandemic ordered, right? But seriously, there are only 4 real characters in this entire film, 4 main characters anyways, and 4 main locations. And the movie is 2.5 hours long. So Kaufman's ability to create that melancholy feel that is popular in many of his films remains intact. In fact, he uses all of his cinematic tools at his disposal. The 4:3 ratio makes you feel like it's boxed in. The cinematography is often intimate and strangely distant. It also follows things that are just about to happen as if you are really in the room and predicting where the story is going to go. In fact, most of the film isn't even scored, and it really creates this silence. It resonates with loneliness. But like many people say when they visit Reid's hometown of Ottawa, we're stuck here, might as well make the most of it. As mentioned before, one half of the Jessies, Jessie Plemons plays Jake, a young man, bringing his girlfriend to meet his parents for the first time, and really, he sits through most of the movie. He doesn't really say a lot, and he kind of just Plemons his way through the film. And let me be clear, to Plemons is to trademark a character that is oddly stoic, quiet, kind of reserved, and yet, you know, something dangerous is bubbling on the inside. It's a compliment, I assure you, but the real compliment to Jessie is Jessie. She does an amazing job. She compliments Jessie Plemons, and more importantly, she compliments the Kaufman-esque protagonist that he writes all the time. If you've seen one Kaufman film, chances are you've seen this, well, Charlie Kaufman character, and Jessie Buckley plays it brilliantly. She's an artist who desperately wants to, but really can't defend her own art. She's an intellectual, yet she gets lost in her own neuroses, and of course reality begins to crumble around her. Like I said, it's a Kaufman archetype. Yet, isn't the appeal of a Kaufman protagonist how strangely relatable they are? And Buckley is phenomenal in this role. She's sweet, she's funny, she's innocent, she's quirky, but she's also weird. She doesn't really know what's going on. She plays the audience as well as playing the Kaufman character because she is your view on the reality within the film. And to be able to ground a Charlie Kaufman movie is not easy. Some of the actors in previous Kaufman films didn't even do that, and that's saying something. I'll admit I didn't really know her work before this film, but I can't wait to see her in something in the future because she is for the win. The other 2 pieces of this cinematic quartet are matriarch of the Nightmare Realm, Toni Collette, and actor who I always seem to think is part wolf, David Thewlis, and my cinematic lord, are they amazing in this very small yet important role. One of my favorite scenes is when all 4 characters sit down to dinner. These 4 actors in a 10-minute scene cover cutesy humor, genuine awkwardness, unspoken connection, real emotion, all within that span. It is one of the most densely layered scenes I've ever seen, and really the script is that dense as well. But the question becomes, is it too dense? I would go so far as to say, yes, it's too dense, and let me be perfectly clear, when it comes to movies, I'd like to think I'm a pretty clever guy. I get it. I get what Kaufman was going for, at least part of what Kaufman was going for. It was pretty clear. But that's also because I've read the novel. I've studied Beckett. I'm Canadian. I bring that up because, as mentioned before, this existential crisis, this never-ending nightmare, the pure darkness and solitude of it all, was of course inspired by a Canadian winter. Yay, Canadian connection. Everything in this movie is surreal. Everything is subtextual. Nothing you see is really real. No character is playing who they really are. And that's really the best way I can put it without explaining every single tiny Kaufman-esque detail. Where the film really lost me was the third act, because this surreal and conceptual film became even more surreal and conceptual in the last 20 to 25 minutes. Kaufman made some very specific choices to change the ending of the novel, maybe slightly, maybe drastically, to really prove his point, to get the subtext across, and to really give us his trademark quirkiness. But was it the right choice? You mean the novel didn't have an animated pig narrated by Oliver Platt? And believe me, the pig thing isn't even the most insane part. Now, while as mentioned, it did fit the specific part of the narrative that Kaufman chose to focus on, and while once again, I understood the subtext, I just felt that it borderlined on ludicrous, and it was definitely abrupt. There's nothing necessarily wrong with this film, it's just that it's so dreadful. And I don't mean that as in it's awful, I mean it's literally full of existential dread. And having invested so much time in this movie, I wish that the payoff was, in fact, that. A payoff. It is a brilliantly crafted film. The script is superb, the acting is amazing, and as mentioned, the cinematography even heightens the surrealism, but this is a movie that I can definitely appreciate and yet just didn't like. It's a burn it. Poll question, what was one movie that you just didn't really understand? Be honest. As always, leave your answers in the comments section below. And until next time, school's out. Hey Real students, thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe to Real School, click that round Real School logo right beside me. Also click that damn notification bell so you're aware of all of Real School's new content. You can follow me on Twitter, and of course, if you get anything out of Real School, you can always give a little back. Just click the link in the description below or the button down there, and you can become part of my Patreon team.